Good evening, everybody. Just a few updates, really, and then we'll turn the meeting over to Ed and Lorraine. So thank you for participating in the survey. Ed will go over the survey results. Kind of generally speaking, though, what we're going to end up doing is we're not going to have any meetings next week, including Mindful Monday. And then going into next week, the following week, first week of July, we'll do Mindful Monday at our normal time at 9. And then we're going to move this call to once a week. Wednesdays at 9. That was the feedback. And then we're also going to discontinue the bulletin every day, and we're going to do one bulletin a week on Wednesday. So we'll have a meeting on Wednesday, and then the bulletin at the end of the day Wednesday. All these things were put in place because of the high degree of communication that was needed during the COVID experience. And although we're mindful of the fact that we may need these tools in the future, that everyone's time right now is at a real real priority, and so revising the schedule, I think right now makes a lot of sense. So anyway, so thanks for all the feedback on that. One thing that I am really proud of everybody for is, so year to date, or program to date so far, we've purchased 29,000 meals, over 29,000 meals. It's 29,344 for our various food banks in the states that we're in. So congratulations to everybody for that, and let's keep it going. Let's get above that 30,000 number. I'm sure we'll get there in a couple weeks, and that it's going to have a lot of impact as we move into the later stages of this event that we're going through. So that's it for me. I will turn it over to Lorraine. I'll be back at the end.
All right, thanks, Chris. Yeah, I just looked up those numbers for the food banks, and I was blown away because I think in the last week we bumped that up by another 2,500 meals. So, I mean, that's just such a huge impact, and there's still so many people that that need to draw from those resources and are still feeling the real economic impact from this event. So thank you all, and continue to spread the word. And we will have an updated graphic going out in the bulletin today that you can share on your social media pages and in your emails, etc. So let me share my screen. I'll show you some stuff that's going on. So Ed did a survey earlier this week, last week, whenever it was, doesn't matter. And we received we did receive a significant amount of response, so thank you all for participating. And that information is invaluable to us, so we can make sure that we're delivering the services and meetings and content that you all want to hear, and that is the most impactful in your business. So, just kind of getting a feel for how many of our Zoom calls are being watched. And the good news is just about everybody is either attending all, most, or some of our meetings, which is great. And as Chris mentioned, having twice a week maybe doesn't make as much sense right now as it once did. So we will be going down to that once a week. So we'll talk about that in a second. And then if you weren't able to attend live, or even if you did you watch or rewatch the recording? And it's good to know that those are there as a resource. If you ever do miss the live version and you want to watch the recording, we always do record the meetings and post them. And then they're great reference, to look back on, particularly for the agent panels or our headliner series. If you missed any of those, I highly encourage you to go back and check those when you have some time. None of them are particularly long, so it's something you could watch during a lunch hour or something like that, if you ever take a lunch. And then based on the survey results, Wednesday just slightly edged out the other days, Tuesdays. So it looks like Wednesday, and then based on significant feedback, 9 a.m. looks to be the best date. So as Chris mentioned, no meetings at all next week leading into the holiday. But then starting the following week, we will be doing Wednesdays at 9 a.m. for these meetings. And of our headliner series and kind of the larger topic segments that we've been running, what have been the most impactful? And the way this question was asked to have you rank first, second, third, fourth, but the way the results came up, they're just, I mean, they're really about even. And most people actually in the handwritten comments said basically that all of these were about of equal importance and equal weight and of equal value. So that is good to hear. So, and then we had that kind of free open comments question about what we can do to best support you. And this is what we call a word cloud. So these are the words, the big words are the ones that came up the most often. So we're looking through that entire list as a management team, and we will carve out whatever we can do to provide these items that are going to be the most impactful for all of you in your business, looking for where those trends are and ways that we can assist. So please, you know, just be on the lookout for our future meetings and never hesitate to reach out and ask if there's anything that you need help with along the way.
Hey, before you finish with that, Lorraine?
Yeah, of course.
So there's a couple things on this word cloud. Marketing and support are really big. And then you see Zoom meetings there. And it was interesting because among the comments, and there were at the end of the day yesterday, there were over 200 comments, but lots of the Zoom meetings were, I hate Zoom meetings and I love Zoom meetings. So it was hard to discern that, but Zoom came up a lot, as you can imagine. The other thing is that we asked a question in there if anybody would be interested in learning more about how to get listings from their spheres of influence, listing referrals from their spheres of influence and past books of business. And we had 90 responses to that. So Angela and I are going to be announcing over, well, when we get on the other side of the holiday, we'll be announcing 2 different programs to help those agents that identified there that they'd be interested in finding out about that. And one of them is going to be some sort of masterclass for people that are already operating at a very high level. And then there will also be a, let's call it a regular class for everyone else. So watch for more information on that. And thank you to everybody who took the poll and took the time to add their comments. I made a copy of all the comments and they were handed out to the executive team. So lest you think that maybe any comments that you might make, you know, disappear into the ether, know that they're being read by Chris and everyone else. So that's what I wanted to add. Thank you, Lorraine.
Yeah, and likewise, I mean, we did a similar poll, I don't know, a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and a lot of great innovative products and services came out of that poll. So we do take it seriously. We do give it a lot of attention. And so you'll see some cool stuff coming out of that. And so let me share my screen again. There were some comments that Chris's Mindful Monday should have been included in that survey. And we know that's valuable. And we're glad to hear that you all enjoy that as well. And if you have missed any of those, we do record that entire series and that is available as well. So I wanted to just share a couple of slides on how our web traffic is going and the lead statistics that we're seeing. So just, you know, we're talking about recovery and about how, you know, things are, I mean, I know you all feel, you definitely are all busier, but I just want to show you what the numbers are looking like. So our website visits, this is massyellow.com. From March, we had so you can see from February to March, we had a pretty significant dip, but look where we've gone since March. And we're now back up to the highest level that we were ever at, which was last summer. So, you know, I would definitely say that things are recovering, and we're seeing that kind of traffic on our web. And then our leads, so these are leads, email requests that come through or showing requests, they're following that same trajectory, just, you know, skyrocketing and heading right up in the right direction since March. So all of that is great news. And I don't see any questions I can't see the chat. So are there any questions about that?
Chat is clear right now.
Okay. And then, so Ed, would you like to introduce Donna?
I would not. I'm going to give it to Angela. Angela?
Angela. Uh-oh, I think I need to unmute her. Hold on a minute.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Come on now.
All right. So I'm really excited to have Donna Gary join us. Donna's been doing some really cool things. As you guys know, there's a lot of multiple offer situations going on out there. So Donna has got some slides she's going to share with us, and she's going to bring us through what she's doing with her agents to make them rise to the top in a multiple bid situation and get those deals. So we're not spending time having to write 6 or 7 deals, contracts for each buyer client out there, right? So Donna, if do we have her unmuted so that she can just join in?
She's unmuted.
Yep. Awesome, thanks.
Hi, yeah, so the topic has come up a lot the past few weeks on multiple offers in the office. I know a lot of you, can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, because my screen just went blank.
Oh, I just shared your slides, so we can see
So
you.
I don't need to see anything. Okay, so, you know, I think a lot of you are struggling with your buyers feeling not confident, you know, in you and the ability to get these offers to be a win, you know. So sorry, that's not working either. Sorry about that. So anyway, I can't see the screen, so I'm kind of going on in this blind. But we talked yesterday during our meeting with our lenders, our preferred lenders, to get some ideas too. And what was kind of brought up was, you know, we really need to bring in the highest earnest money you can. I mean, today we're seeing crazy amount of money being put down for earnest money, from 10 to 20 to we even had a $50,000 earnest money last week. I mean, that's really competitive as well. Shortening the time of inspections, you know, 7 days if you can do it. Scheduling that inspection as soon as possible. That, you know, sometimes we've had an agent that says they do that and they notify the seller that they've already scheduled their inspection. Something you can cancel if, you know, if it doesn't work out. We've had buyers that will put in a dollar amount. So if they have an inspection, they're willing to do a certain amount of money for repairs. So really this leaves the door open that if there's a major repair, and there's examples like the septic, the roof, you know, things that are really going to cause them financial difficulty, then they can, you know, discuss that with the sellers and try to negotiate, you know, those repairs. And then therefore that'll be something the seller is aware of. Appraisal guarantee price, we've had some of this going on that with the sales prices being so high with multiple offers, that you want to make sure that the buyer can pay that gap between the sales price and the price that they offer for the home. Appraised value sometimes doesn't come in that high. As we know, we've had a few issues with that. So you want to make sure your buyers can provide either that proof of funds or the difference. You can put that difference in the earnest money, which, you know, gives that seller more confidence in your buyer. The lenders, when we had the lenders on yesterday, they were really helpful about telling the difference between a pre-qual and a pre-approval. If your buyers are, you know, willing, they should really go through the whole process and get pre-approved. And two, a lot of our lenders are willing to even call a listing agent, you know, kind of give the information that they can provide to comfort the listing agent and the seller that they're ready to roll. They can close, and once appraisal's done, you know, we can have a quick closing. The escalation clause, which has been around for quite some time, it's kind of getting tired. Some agents don't even want you to present escalation clause. They just want highest or best. If you're going to do one, make sure it's worthwhile. We're seeing the escalation clauses go from $1,000 to $5,000. I think when you have a multiple offer where they're so close together, and then you add that escalation clause, people just want to know, what is it that you are willing to pay? What's your best offer? Bring it forward, and just don't look backwards. The letter to the seller from the buyers, everyone's doing this. It is important. You do need to be careful with it, but I think on the most part, it's still something that should be provided. So if there's any reason, you can also comfort the sellers, maybe, if there's any reason why the inspections aren't unsatisfactory and they can't come to like a solution, that you'll offer them that report. Or, if the appraisal doesn't come in and you can't come up with some kind of solution for that, you'll offer that appraisal to them. They might appreciate that. Then the home warranty, we have the home warranty in-house here, our gold plan. You can say you have this home warranty that will protect the property while it's under contract. And that might give your seller, something too that says, oh, they're serious buyers. They've already put a home warranty on the property. So therefore I won't have to worry about some of those things while moving and finding another place. Let's see. I think one of our Zoom meetings mentioned, find out what's important to the sellers. Ask questions to the selling agent. See what really will make a difference. Everybody's situation is different. So, if they need help moving or leaving items that you're willing to remove after closing, and try to take that stress off the seller. The closing date too. It's great to put in you're willing to close within 30 days, but the seller might want more time. So if you're willing to work with their closing date, extending it 60 to 90 days, letting them know that in advance, that's a real big thing, because some of them haven't found their house or they have to wait to move in as well. I had one client that offered to take care of the lawn at one time. It was kind of silly back a few years ago. He said he would maintain the lawn while it was under contract. And the sellers really appreciated that because they didn't have to take the 2 or 3 hours a week to take care of the lawn. Let's see. Oh, the days of asking for personal items and furniture, including a laundry list of things, that's probably not a good idea at this time. So I would maybe set that aside, bring it up after winning the offer and see how much they would want for those items. We're finding our buyers just can't compete no matter what. I mean, they can throw their best offers. They're just having a really difficult time. There's obviously a lot of buyers, low inventory. Our home funded program is something that you should be bringing to your buyers' attention. It's a great program. You can, talk to your lender about it. I think right now, if they can't find a home, this is what they should be focusing on. Maybe not needing the closing cost or having more money down. I'm just really impressed by it. So we had our lender come a couple of times and go over it, and it's really something to be able to provide that to your client. And to remember your why. I mean, why are you a buyer's agent? So you have to really think about how are you going to make this deal happen, or how are you going to make their dream come true, accomplish their dreams and find them a house that they're going to be happy with and, thank you for. I think just talking to some of your agents too, if you're having a hard time, talk to your listing agents. We had a panel of 4 of our listing agents, and they kind of shared with them what they're seeing from multiple offers. And it was interesting, all different values from 200 to 600,000. They were kind of seeing the same thing, although some of the agents were saying it's not always the sales price. So that's why these ideas might help. Sometimes it's just a matter of going through each and every single one of them, because, you know, they'll do spreadsheets, they'll call lenders. You know, the selling agents are realizing it's hard to determine when you have half a dozen to a dozen offers on the table, what buyer will be the best buyer. So keep in mind that we're always here to answer questions or help you with ideas. It's great that we can meet like this too, and, you know, talk with one another and ask questions. But I feel bad when, you know, we have so many agents getting a little discouraged, and, you know, it is just that time, and we're all here to support you. I feel like I'm talking to
Awesome.
a blank screen.
Oh, I know it's hard when you can't see anything.
I can't
You're
see
doing
anything, yeah.
great.
Kind of like
I'm
flying
just-
an airplane.
Well, that's okay, Donna. We're all just staring at you.
Yeah,
Don't be nervous.
Right?
that's funny.
I know I've sent you a few screenshots so you can see what's going on. But, you know, some really good stuff. Can you elaborate why it's not always the price?
Yeah, I mean, some people really think cash is king. I mean, it is if you're, I mean, one of our offers last week was over 30,000 more than the list price. So in that case, the cash was king, but, you know, you still get a check at the end of the day. So if a buyer is someone that's easy to work with, you know, understands that it takes a team to accomplish this goal, and they're willing to, you know, negotiate closing dates and, like I said, just make things easier for the seller, because it's a lot to move a house that you've probably lived in for, you know, a number of years. Or if you have children, the COVID-19, you know, there's so many variables.
Right. Right. We've had a couple things here in chat that are pretty good. A lot of people are suggesting that you present the offer to your seller yourself, right? Because you do a better job presenting your buyers than the list agent will. Are you seeing that happening?
I'm not, just because of time frame, you know, that it's just time of the essence, and that's a little stressful for all parties. And to the buyer, and then the selling agent has to be comfortable with you wanting to do that. But I will say back, I don't know, number of years ago, my agent, which was Marilyn Laverdier here, she presented the offer for me. And I thought that was that really impressed me, because it was kind of a similar market. So if you can do it, yes, definitely. If you can make that happen, that would be great. It does help.
Yeah. Kelly, I like what you just put up. Kelly Black just put up relationships that you can create with co-brokes is also beneficial to your buyer clients. I remember being an agent, and that was, you know, I know there were specific agents that they came to me with an offer that you just knew that offer was going to close, right?
Yeah, if you know them and you guys can communicate well, communication's really important. And if they don't feel like you're gonna respond and communicate well, you know, they're gonna share that with their sellers.
Right, right. Can you touch a little bit about on the seller side, a little more on if you're looking at an offer, if you've got the seller and you've got a bunch of multiple bids in front of you, what are some of the things that are really standing out there?
Yeah, so some of our listing agents are actually taking the offers and they're doing spreadsheets. So they're really breaking them down piece by piece. And like I said, they're making habit of calling every lender to make sure these buyers are what they say they are on paper. They're taking the time. So it's good. You want that to happen, especially where some buyers may not seem to be on the top with what they're asking for. But what you don't remember is that you may still get someone to counter with you. There might be 4 offers that are so close, and there's one thing on one offer that the seller really likes, but then you may be more financially sound with your lending or what have you. So you still may get a counter. But what I'm seeing is just they're taking a little bit more time, and I'm glad to see that. They cleaner the offer, the better, of course, but terms and communication and just the willingness to work with them, you know, although it's a seller's market and people feel like, you know, the prices are just, they keep climbing, and, you know, they're frustrated because if they need closing costs or if they need, you know, additional help, or if you have a house to buy, it's going to be really hard today to have a home
Right.
community. So that's another thing that we have to get creative about, I think.
I really liked what you said earlier when you were talking about one of the things, and you just hit on it a little bit about having to have closing costs. And again, that CMG Financial Home Fund It program, I think, is huge. It's such a great program, right? And you can get that money down from families and friends, and you don't have to have all those letters written.
If you're not exercising it and learning about it and offering it right now, I mean, this is the time that these buyers need that type of program. And I think they'll really appreciate it. At first, you know, once you sit down, you talk about it, and you realize that this home buying dream of yours might take a little longer than you thought. Let's get you started on this program.
Yeah.
Therefore, every offer will get better because you won't need as much closing costs. So yeah, I'm really trying to promote that in the office and in our meetings, and you know, like I said, become an expert, because so many buyers that can benefit from it.
It is. It's a cool program, and I know Joanne was just saying she needed to learn more about that program. So reach out to your CMG partner for that, Joanne. I believe CMG is the only one offering the Home Fund It. Yep. So it's exclusive to them, and it really is a super program.
And it's branded.
Mm-hmm.
So it's branded to you as an agent, and every time that one of their friends or families, you know, contribute to the fund, you're branded on that. So, you know, there's so many ways that you could use this, you know, and I'm really impressed by it, like I said.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of things too about relationships, and I think that's super important. I know Tim Nolan said something the other day that I picked up on and I really liked. And he said, if you're fighting with the other agent, you're fighting with your client. And I think if you remember that, that's just kind of a good way for you to just kind of go and close yourself down, check yourself a little bit, right? So if you're fighting with the other agent, you're fighting with your client, because that can come back at you.
Yeah, there's really no room to be fighting with clients or agents. You're going to have to sit back and go take that 7-minute walk and respond the best way, you know, respond the way that your client would want you to respond. People, we know it's stressful enough. So yeah, you got to make sure that you're putting that top of mind. You don't want to be saying wrong things or responding in a bad moment. So yeah, keep the relationships and stay patient, stay kind, respectful.
Yep. No, that's awesome. I saw, Gina, you put in that no inspections if the buyer is comfortable with that. I know whenever my husband and I buy something, that's always a tense moment for us, because I'm the realtor and I want to put in inspections, and he's like, I bought a house before, we don't need inspections. I kind of do. But
and that's why that comment about the buyer will accept a certain amount of repairs, right? So you go in knowing that you probably have to do some stuff. You spend some money, and you're willing to say, okay, well, if it's, you know, if the inspections results, you know, come up with $5,000 worth of stuff, I'm willing, I can get that. But if it's up and over that, then we may have a problem, you know?
Yeah. And oftentimes too, I'm seeing, and are you seeing that buyers are willing to just take cash as opposed to having the repairs done?
It kind of depends on the lending part of it, you know, if it's going to cause a problem with their lending. But yeah, I mean, they will, especially a lot of these pending sales are closing quick. So there's not always time to have those repairs done before.
Right.
So that's the option. That's the only other option, right?
Right. And the other thing I would say too, Donna, are you finding your agents are coming to you? Because there's oftentimes you're in the heat of a deal, right? And your head is just kind of like, and you go to your sales director and you talk it out, and your sales director can sometimes come up with some suggestions for you and different ways to try things. And are you finding that that's happening for you?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of why we made this the topic this week, because we are talking a lot about multiple offers, and agents are calling and they're, you know, they're sad, they're frustrated. They're like, okay, I'm on my 10th offer with this buyer, you know, so what could I do differently? How can I, you know, how can I make them more strong, you know, and make them dominant in this pile of offers? And I'm like, well, sometimes you can sweeten the pot, as I call it, but other times you're up against it. If you're going to have someone come in and pay $20,000 or $30,000 more, you might as well try to take a different direction and go with, like, let's get you more prepared. You know, that's why you need to talk to the lender and maybe, you know, visit that Go Fund It program and explain that, you know, no one likes to be, when you go see a house and they're excited and then they're told, okay, time is of the essence, stop what you're doing, don't eat dinner, we gotta, you know, decide on how we're gonna put this offer together, and there's a deadline, and it's so stressful. So a lot of buyers are realizing they don't really want to compete like that. And if they have the time, I think it's a no-brainer to put them into the Go Fund It page. If they're really needing the closing costs and they're not a cash offer, you know, they're not gonna ever be a cash buyer. So, and, you know, markets change, things will change, but this will help a lot.
Oh, cool. Ed, you've been doing this for a long time. What might you have to offer?
Well, not as much as Donna and some of the other sales directors here, because you all are in it right now in you know, at a completely different pace. I did want to add, though, that when I've seen agents before struggling with a buyer, you know, a good buyer that's looking for something and they just are losing out, I always encourage them to take that buyer and market that buyer to their past clients. So if you look at your past clients and you say, you know, I'll say to an agent, so what's your buyer looking for? And they'll say, oh, a 3-bedroom ranch, right? And I'll ask them, so if you look back at your past clients, like, how many 3-bedroom ranches have you sold in your career? Like, go talk to those people and see if they're interested in selling, or see if they may know somebody that's interested in selling. Because if you have a really good buyer right now, a good buyer, even in this market where there's so many of them, a good buyer is very valuable. And there may be sellers out there that just don't understand that they can come on the market and what that means. And, you know, maybe they don't, everybody's got a story, right? They don't want to do an open house, or they don't want to get the house ready for a showing and all that stuff, or they're concerned about the current conditions. So if you can talk to people in your, you know, your sphere of influence or your past clients and take this really valuable buyer to them, you might be able to put something together without having to deal with multiple offers, because your, you know, your past client is in that position and ready to do it. I did see an agent just the other day trying to keep their seller or their buyer's expectations sort of, you know, level. And all along the process, he would say, okay, keep your fingers crossed. You know, even when they got the offer accepted, he was like, all right, keep your fingers crossed. Because how many things happen between the time that somebody says an offer is accepted and then it blows apart? And when that happens, you know, when they've already lost out on 4 or 5 deals, it can be really difficult. We could do a whole program on keeping your buyers from losing their minds in this process, but not today. Check with your sales directors, though. They know how to talk you off the ledge.
There's one more thing I wanted to mention too, if I could. Although things are pending, you should be following up on those pending sales. If you have a buyer that loves a house and it's been pending, call those agents, make sure everything's going well. We've had a few agents that have been able to go in and take over those contracts, and it was just a phone call. and they look really good to their buyers. So just because it says pending, it's not something you should be overlooking.
Absolutely. Super. Anybody else have any questions with that? I think, if there's some more comments that you have coming in, great. I would say always go to your sales director, right? So if you need help with a multiple bid situation, making your offer look better, if you're in pending and you've gone through inspections and you've got some issues there, don't just assume that deal's going to fall. Go to your sales director. They can help you keep that deal together. Right, Donna?
Oh, definitely. Yep.
Right. It's not over till it's over. So we don't want to mark it done before it is. So, thanks everybody. This has been a great call. We're going to send it back to Chris. Donna, Ed, and I will monitor the chats and respond back to you there if we can.
I'm trying.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
So thank you very much, Donna. That was great. It's interesting. And we said this really right along through the whole COVID experience that people want to transact. And, that what we found out is that that's true. They do. And they're going to want to continue to transact in probably larger numbers than maybe we would have anticipated considering the scope of what's gone on. And just anecdotally, I was talking to a pool installer. I don't know if I mentioned this here or not, but it was so fascinating. Like he's taking deposits into next year. And so home has much greater influence today in importance than it has probably at any other time, right? And so obviously everyone had spent a lot of time at home. And people are also, they're evaluating their situations. They understand that maybe traveling in the future, won't be as fluid as it has been. And so, we're going to continue to be very busy. I think the other aspect of it is just simply raw demographics. We literally have more family formation in our population than we do new housing units being produced to meet that demand. So that if nothing else is what's going to drive the housing will be the demographics. So as we've been talking about right along, your spheres are very important. So if you're not in contact with them or you don't have a plan to be in contact with them, that's really mission critical right now. That has to happen. So, and I think we're seeing why. And the really good advice about following up on offers, something goes under agreement, make sure that other agent knows about, the listing agent knows that your buyer might be interested. All those types of things really will all, add up to making a better, a better experience for your client, and of course, a better year financially for you. So it was great, and this is really great information. And thank you for everybody who participated. And we will have our next meeting on Wednesday. I don't know what the date is, but the first week in July. And we'll get that out to everybody. So take care. Have a good rest of the week.